Hello friends, this is Eli from Mystic Circuits. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use Anna in possibly its most boring and yet most powerful role as a simple voltage processor. In other words, as an attenuvert offset. This method for using Anna was one of the main reasons that I decided to add the mix output, as it lets you get the most out of the input voltage processing section of Anna without having to necessarily do all of the fancier cross modulation tricks that are available at the other outputs. Also, having a utility module with a mixer on it just made a lot of sense. So in this case, I'm using the multi-mod, one of its outputs, just in its normal LFO mode with no input. I'm using it as a descending ramp wave going into the main in on our channel 1, so upper left hand corner. We're taking the mix out and we're plugging it into the 1 volt per octave input on our 3 sisters. From there, I have our qubit chord being sequenced off screen by a Tree Leaves as well as our Westlicht performer, and that is going into all 4 of the inputs on the 3 sisters. I like to use the crossover mode on 3 sisters, which is basically, it's very similar to a parametric EQ sort of filter, but where you get to plug different signals into each of the filter sections. So you get your low note going into the low pass filter, and then your medium note going into the band pass filter, and then your higher note going into the high pass filter, and then you're able to smoothly sweep between all of them. And then I usually do the root note in the all input. And just to show you what that sounds like, we have this chord sequence coming in from the qubit chord, and now if I change the filter, you can hear certain notes in the chord are either emphasized or de-emphasized, giving us a nice filter sweep. I added just a tiny bit of resonance so that we're able to get those nice kind of wah, crispy sounds. And then changing the span can also impact the way that all of these notes overlap in different parts of the frequency spectrum. You can hear all these notes kind of occupy less space. Now they occupy more. Right? And of course, that's all well and good, but what we want to do is we want to use Anna 2 in order to control this. So again, multi-mod plugged into Anna. If I turn up the attenuverter knob at the top, you can hear this modulation signal becoming more effective. Slowing it down, speeding it up, but this is the amount. We're inverting the signal now. You can't hear it as much, but if I was to use our offset, now I'm shifting the output signal down. Now I'm shifting it up, and we're able to do something like inverting the modulation input. So now we're getting a rising wave. Right. So that's all well and good, but what's so interesting about this? Well, first of all, if you have an Anna sitting around in your system being unused, it's nice to know that sitting there is an extra attenuvert offset. These are sort of your bread and butter utility. I often find myself running out of them, so it's nice to know that it's there as a backup. But one of the other nice things about it is that you can actually voltage control the function of both of these knobs, both the offset and the attenuverter knob. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this output, which will be the most different in speed depending on the spread value, right? So now it's going really fast, whereas this one starts to go slower. I'm going to plug it into this multiply input. So you can see this output is now multiplying the overall attenuverter value. And if we were to change the spread, now they're both going in unison, but maybe I could change the phase, get some different shapes out of it. But I find the most fun happens with spread. So just like how I'm able to voltage control the functioning of this knob, I'm also able to control the functioning of this knob by adding in another signal. You could technically add in 2 other signals on this side, but just for clarity, we're going to go ahead and take this index kind of stepped output and plug it into the shift here. Now you can hear, maybe even see, we're getting a little bit of a stepped voltage happening from our multi-mods output. If you change the spread and phase, it'll give you all these interesting sort of evolving sequences. And now we're going to go ahead and add back in the multiplied modulation signals that we had before. So even with something as simple as the mix output, we're able to get some pretty interesting behavior from mixing different sorts of modulation together. Just to give a sort of final example of what this sort of batch is able to do, I plugged in a couple of the other multi-mod outputs into the rest of the inputs on our Anna 2, and now we're getting sort of the full effect of Anna's input processing section, right? We're able to add a bunch of these signals together while multiplying others. It gives us a really nice way to get sort of predictable but versatile mixture of all of these different kinds of modulation. And obviously at this point you can start to take out some of these other outputs, see what they're looking like, but I think it's good to know just at any point in time, if your Anna's just sitting there, you get an attenuvert offset, you get a 4-channel mixer, and you get VCAs over 2 of those channels just by using the mix out. Anyways, that's how you use your Anna 2's voltage processing inputs to their maximum effect using the mix output. Thank you for watching.